Didn't phase me this time. We're like half an hour
What
late,
didn't
but it
phase
didn't
you?
phase me. Shut up.
There wasn't
Sick of you.
anything.
Shut
this
your
was a
face.
perfect opening.
Perfect opening. 10 out of 10. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Star Trek Iskandar, when falsehood seems so much like the truth. Ran by myself, yours truly, Mike Kilburn, whose name is sometimes read right as a patron.
Oh, it's not.
Sometimes.
Sounds
Rarely.
fake.
Sounds fake,
Fake
but alright.
news.
Yeah, not sure about that.
Before we crack on with the action, just a reminder that we are indeed using helps and hinders. He says very, very quickly, opening up the thing he needs on screen to see helps and hinders. There we go. There we go. I don't think there's anything over from last time, so all is gravy, baby. And yeah, a minor help will cause a relatively immediate change to the benefit or to the detriment of the team. A moderate will have impact to the plot itself, and a major is pretty significant, but I believe costs real dollar. But I don't know.
Moderate.
So does moderate, but like more dollar. Increased dollar. But yeah, that's just something for you all to know. So, you all right, Kath?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of seeds in my jam, so I've got a lot of jam seeds still kind of stuck in my teeth.
You did a full-on lizard tank. That was the most distracting part of the whole thing. I think, to get us warmed up, I'm going to go to our B plot to begin with.
Previously's. You've not done any. You didn't do previously's last week, and I was very upset.
Oh, I apologize. Well, previously on the Star Trek Iskandar, yes. Previously, while visiting a Dr. Victoria Brott, an observational scientist working for Starfleet, observing the rich culture of Tamalia Prime, there was something of a pre-warp species, very important to note. There was something of an accident and a mistake that happened all at once, as an individual that shall not be named until disciplinary actions is undertaken.
Who shall not be named for legal purposes.
For legal purposes. Undertook some probably illegal experimentation, certainly frowned upon and against the code of ethics of Starfleet, on himself with nanites, at the same time as an unfortunate generator strike saw the building plunge into darkness and corrupted the artificial intelligence of the synthetic that was on the base, which then proceeded to go crazy and attack people.
Why would you do that, Vance?
Vance, come on. Take it easy.
I would have way better justification, you asshole!
Vance the synth by shooting it numerous times, which is what Vance does, and had a firm conversation with aforementioned unnamed individual. We'll call them Mr. Y for the remainder of the previous please. And unfortunately, due to the conditions that the lab was left in and the whole general potential breach of Prime Directive that they were on the cusp of, it was deemed that this was basically a no-go. Unfortunately, there being no real capacity, the situation is fucked. And it needs to get unfucked right now. So, containing the nanite-ridden body of the synth, whose positronic brain is being remapped into an exact replica of individual Ys, the team were about to strike out to go to the second observation deck as a point of rendezvous with Starfleet and to get themselves off-world so that no further harm can be done. Meanwhile, aboard Starbase 183, sexy Lieutenant Cantos had sexy flirty times with a awful pseudoscience twink who turned out to be the child of, I say child, the offspring of the Interior Minister of United Earth, playing funny ha-ha games, and seems to have gotten into some degree of upset and consternation with some Ferengi that happen to be around. And yeah, we'll... Can we forever add twinked as allowed to the chat?
Why did that get a consensus?
Overuse?
So overuse.
Sorry, I didn't really try to create more work for our own chat.
So, Lieutenant Cantos, you've just spotted Tre Exantus. Yes. You've spotted Tre Exantus.
Staying on with the headphones so they can come off straight away.
They seem to have observed you dealing with the Ferengi. You do catch that it's not all kind of cocksure, like, yeah, this is all according to plan. But the moment that you meet eyes, they affix a very kind of, yeah, actually, I'm fine. I'm going to swagger away now. And they put a bit of a kick to their heels as they try and power walk through the crowd in a way to put some distance with the away from you. Are you pursuing?
Yeah. They're clearly a bad idea. Of course I'm pursuing.
It's not going to be that difficult to track them down. They duck into what is almost like an information kiosk. There's several holo displays about the Starbase and about nearby systems. Probably a one of Tamalian Prime that we're going to use as a cut shot for later when we leave this scene. And they're doing a very poor job of pretending to be really, really interested in a informational holo about local fauna to neighboring planets. It's basically the whatever display gets their back pointed to you, in the hopes that you might just breeze past this kiosk, but that does not come to pass.
I'm not breezing past. I'm going to breeze up to them. Pretty sure that that image is not to scale for that particular kind of fauna. I'm fairly sure they're a lot smaller than that image makes them look.
I mean, that's quite deceptive. I think we should put in a formal complaint to the Starbase's operations. If we can't trust a holo to be at scale, then what can we trust?
Right. Speaking of trust...
Yes.
You left pretty sharpish.
I did. Yeah. I don't have...
Care to elaborate on why?
Well, mostly, I think you'll see where I'm coming from. It was hilarious. Certainly for me. And probably for you. Definitely retrospectively in the next year or so, you're going to look back at this and laugh.
I'm sure, given, a few months, couple of weeks, couple of days.
This is increasingly
This will be funny.
Yeah.
However, kind of stood me up here.
I get that. I know. I'm sorry. It just you strike me as a kindred spirit to me. Like there's so many Starfleet pilots that are just you sit at the console and you do and there's no, I don't want to say theatrics, but I kind of mean theatrics to it. There's no flair. There's no je ne sais quoi, And you seem like a rarity in that you seem like one of the fun ones.
And what flair is there in leaving me hiding under your bed, waiting to be caught by Starfleet security?
Yeah, that part wasn't so much for you. That was more for my dad. just a little.
I figured that was probably what that was for.
Yeah. I'm sorry to use you in a prop in that regard. I will. I promise you, I can make this up to you.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so here's the thing.
And what, pray tell, is the thing?
Well, those Ferengi.
Those ones you apparently owe a fair bit of latinum to.
Oh, they're...
Also, they tell me.
Yeah, Dawes and Depp, they're good friends. We go way back.
Are they now?
Yeah, with lots of hijinks, lots of fun. To be honest...
I'm sure they've got some great stories about you. Maybe I should go ask them.
Only believe half of them.
Which half, yours or theirs?
Oh, mine. Here's the thing. They're a little upset because of misunderstanding, because they got it in their heads that a friendly wager was slightly different to what they anticipated, and that it was they put real money down. I only meant pretendy money. Maybe I didn't win as successfully as others might have done. Arguably, I lost.
Uh-huh.
Depends on your perspective. Mine
Does it now?
Yeah. Yeah. And mine was all fun and games until someone loses an eye. All eyes intact. Easy breezy. I don't think they're going to take that.
No, I don't think they are, because, as you say, they were very much convinced that this was for real money.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like you didn't make much of an effort to dissuade them before the terms of your little wager were settled.
Well, they're hardly a conversational touchstone, are the Ferengi. It's difficult to kind of get them down into, Ferengi. They don't really care about the nitty-gritty of things. They say completely misrepresenting Ferengi.
Yeah, that doesn't really tally with my experience of Ferengi. In my experience, they are very much concerned with the, how do you put it, nitty-gritty of a situation.
Okay, yeah. Granted.
Particularly when money's concerned.
Yes. You are right. Mm-hmm. However, I have a proposition, and one that I think will work out for everyone involved.
Or will it now?
Yeah.
Go on then.
So,
what's this proposition?
I've got a feeling that with a little bit of persuasion, these two, they're going to be convinced on a whole double or nothing.
Uh-huh.
Get them on the double or nothing. Then we win. Debt is squared. I don't need to fork out any latinum I actually don't have because, post-scarcity.
You say we here.
Yeah, this is the part I think you are going to really like.
Uh-huh.
It was a race.
Yeah, they said.
Yeah. And races flying around all fast like.
It is something I like. That's very true. I like it even more when I've actually got, permission to use the craft that I'm flying.
Now, this we're fine on that.
Oh, we know.
We use a holodeck.
Oh, with that.
Yeah, no real ships, holodeck programming, all above board.
Mm-hmm.
All I need is your most handsome services in being my pilot for the race.
And this holodeck, is this going to be the one that you were trying to send me to on your ship that doesn't seem to work the way you say it does?
I promise you this. you do this for me, I will program that entire thing. Sauna, Swiss chocolates, anything you want.
Tempting. However, alternative proposition. I'll come along and help you out with this race.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it. You square off your debt with the Ferengi. Nobody here gets into any more misadventures.
Okay. Granted, sure. I know you've maybe got it a little twisted about me. I'm not all bad news. And the good news is really very good. But
yeah, the not so great news isn't so great either. So the good news will have to be a bit better if it's going to outweigh that enough for me.
All right. Okay. Let's call it a deal. I'll convince them in a double or nothing. You win the race. Gallant hero. And then we'll take it from there. Clean slate.
All right.
They extend a hand.
Hold out. And yep, Cantos will hold out their hand as well.
Shake on it. Great. Do you want to talk to them about the double or nothing?
Oh no. We just agreed that you were going to go talk to them about the double or nothing.
Okay.
So I think you should go talk to them. I'll happily come with you.
Sure.
So I know what the terms of this bet are, but I think you should be the one who does the talking here.
Sure, absolutely. Makes sense. Let's get to it. Let's find my old buddies.
Let's. I'm sure they won't be too far away.
Excellent. You two trot off, leaving behind you the glowing orb of Tamalia Prime. The camera kind of zooms in. It turns from a hollow projection to a slightly more real projection, continues down and down to the atmosphere till we can see a stretch of barren wasteland and a small little skiff skirting across the wasteland sands. On board, currently driving, is Dr. Victoria Brott, and on board as well as a kind of in the cargo area of the skiff is the ramshackle containment pod that you've created for the corpse of AV. Strange.
Ramshackle, I want that thing to be fucking airtight. I want it sealed in. I want to need industrial welding material to get out to open that crate.
The gleaming
I'm aware
silver
that it will
egg.
open if it's got to open anyway. But this way, you have to give me a fate point.
Yes, I'll correct that. The gleaming silver egg of that contains the AV unit.
Replicated it as a completely seamless object around the AV.
And then another completely seamless object around that first one.
It's like a Russian doll, but death's inside it. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr.
It's like
Burov,
it's the worst game of
me.
pass the parcel. First, you've got to use industrial welding equipment to get in it, and then if you do get through all the layers of wrapping paper, your prize is death.
I got a Russian doll with death inside it for my first birthday.
Did you also play Death Past the Parcel at your fourth birthday, or was that just mine?
What the fuck happened to you two?
The skiff is noisy. I wish that we could paint an image of you kind of in slightly more rugged wasteland material, but frankly, you need to be in rad suits out here. So it is slightly more compact and visor-helmed
That's
attire.
good, because this way we can't talk, which means we don't have to talk, which means there don't have to be any conversations as we bounce.
Sounds good to me. Can't think of anything I'd want to talk to anybody about.
You can talk. There is a small
He
range.
can.
Yeah. That is certainly an option available.
I think when we cut in, we hear kind of the comm chatter from Dr. Brott, who's kind of waving a hand over to the far distance where you can see what is essentially a shattered ecodome. It is vast. You can tell by the way it just basically isn't moving as a fixed point on the horizon that this thing was absolutely ginormous and contains within it a city and the kind of agricultural and farmscaping land that you would associate with a place like that. Only it is nothing but jagged and crooked spires where once pseudo skyscrapers would have stood, and just detritus and the framework of this ecodome just hanging limp. And she's saying that over there was, I shall grab a name, and lately it was the second most important providence of the planet before the cataclysm. It was essentially a second home for the governmental bodies, but many perished, and there have been no real efforts to reclaim it. There's too many linking points for resources to have to be recycled and shielding to be upright. So it's one of the furthest points away from any currently claimed part of civilization.
Good.
Yeah, good.
Oh, having gone to great lengths last episode to insist that Vance did not have a phaser rifle, he will have gotten his phaser rifle out of the shuttle for this journey.
Acceptable.
I feel so bad for Mike. He's trying to, deliver us this idea of Tamela Prime and what it's all like and what it's all about. And our characters just have no fucks left to give about this pre-warp civilization. You could go through the city. No.
We don't want to go through the city. That sounds like a terrible idea, and I've already used up my quota of terrible ideas for quite some time, I think.
For the next 80 years.
Brott will say over the comms, kind of gesturing over to a mountain range. That's where we're heading. That pass will take us basically right the way through to the second observation post. She's about to say something else, and then there's a flare, as it is not the sound that you associate with a phaser rifle, as these things have a slightly more slug thrower element to them. But there's a low whistle, a crack, and then the skiff shudders to the side, nearly unbalancing in the way that it hovers before righting itself. You're all thrown dramatically to the side, and the impact. Brock, I imagine everyone does, but Brock certainly reels around to look at where it's come from, and there are two dust trails, not from the mountain, not from the civilization, but basically west of where the observation point was that you are leaving. So from no real fixed location that you can tell. There's another whip crack noise, and the dust as basically beside you is kicked up as another shot misses you completely. But you can see that there are two one much more robust than the other skiffs hurtling towards you.
Vance looks horrified because he didn't see this coming, like a chump.
Strange's first thought is, I really hope that containment's intact. So that's what he's going to go check first.
Okay. I'll get back to you, Strange. Brock kind of one hand on the kind of essentially joystick of this thing, grabs a set of binoculars, essentially, and kind of thrusts them backwards. Doesn't really have anyone in particular in mind. You take them.
I'm gonna take a look.
Okay.
Whilst yelling, I thought you said that the scavengers weren't violent.
They aren't. Not so long as I've been here, they aren't. You take a look through the binoculars. There is indeed 2 skiffs. One of them is very, very heavily armored, and looks like it's only got a front-mounted weapon, which you think is the one that's been taking shots at you. That is confirmed as it let out another shot, but it goes far too wide and just careens over you. Yes. The second skiff, which is a lot more like your own in that it's open top, has 4 people on it, and they are all armed with. It's very clear to see, even though it's not a design you are familiar with, they are armed with more like rifles.
Oh, well, I missed that we were open top. Oh no.
Yes. Hence the need for the rad suit.
I just figured it could be enclosed without being rad proof.
That's true, but no.
Yeah.
No.
And yet.
Okay. Let me think. Yes. Let's sort the initiative order now before we get much further.
How do we initiate?
Notice.
Roll your
Notice
die.
roll?
Add in notice. Yeah.
Oh. I think that's a 6.
We've been attacked by natives. There is going to be so much paperwork when we get back.
That's a 6 from me.
That is a
6 for Strange.
3 from me.
I have an answer for you. It's a good answer. Let me just give it to you. You'll really enjoy it. It's a +1.
Nice. Your name is Burov. There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as the skiffs kind of come closer and closer, picking up speed, seemingly built to be a little bit more faster than what is essentially Brock's little day-to-day runabout skiff. Strange, you're up first.
Okay, well, the thing that I was going to do was check that the containment is still intact after us having been flung to the side.
You look it over. I'm not going to make you roll to see what has happened because I've just casted a minor hinder from Frey McFuzzles. The initial shot has caused the container to slam against the railing on the side of the skiff, and there is a quite notable crack. What is interesting is that the metal railing has already begun essentially to snap and contort into the shell itself.
Oh, goody. Right. Let's not. Let's try and fix that. Starting with not letting it have any goddamn metal in there. Because robot cannot be trusted with metal.
Arguably the least trustworthy robot, yeah. What are you doing?
And probably the second least trustworthy person on this skiff when it comes to this sort of thing.
Yeah, we can trust Avi. We know what Avi's gonna fucking do.
Like I said, second least trustworthy.
Are you using raw strength to try and pull the metal out of the breach?
Oh, I am a weedy boy. I am a small boy. I'm going to engineer this.
All right, give me an engineering roll.
That is a +5.
Wonderful. We will say that you have successfully identified and dealt with this obstacle. And I'll give you a boost on the back of that. Because I was imagining that only to be like a 2 in terms of obstacle ranking. So you've got a wee boost on that. You're able to kind of quickly whip out some engineering tool, cut off where the metal is the breach, and kind of wrench the railing back in place. Issues for you at the moment are you're now in the back of the skiff with the egg, for want of a better word. The railing is not that intact, and there has been some of metal entered the egg.
Roughly how much? Are we talking like half a railing, or are we talking like this much?
We're talking more like this much for sure.
Okay, just a
You're not going to get like 2 AVs.
It's not a leg's worth.
No, it's not an entire leg. No way.
Maybe a couple of toes.
My favorite pinky. Raiders go. The heavier built skiff with the front facing rifle is going to have another pop. That is going to be a 4 on that, so I guess if Brot's still on the wheel, that's going to be versus her pilot. Okay, that sucked. That's a critical failure on Brot's record.
Yes, we're going to get a new vehicle when we kill these natives and take their stuff.
Guess we're taking whichever of these looks like it's the fastest, but ideally the most intact after all of this.
She's going to be able, because I've got a vehicle stat here, don't worry. Most of that goes on to stress, but she's still got to deal it with a mild condition.
Could she take it? Like, because we don't really need Brot. You know how we were talking about crew last episode, that we don't really... I mean, we might need Brot, to be fair. That was a bold statement.
Yeah.
Your words will be remembered.
You still have to solve the nanite problem.
That's gonna cause a mild consequence. Let's say rear hypolift, for want of a better word.
Yeah, what is our, I was gonna say propulsion, what is our tread?
It sounds like we're in a hoverboat.
Hovering, and they're, I'm assuming they're also hovering, because else that would
they Hi, look, I'm in this cool land cruiser, and they're on like wheels. No, it's all hovering technology. Yours is only now 3/4 hovering, as some repulsor engine in the back completely cacks out, and you start that kind of the back left corner is dragging in the sand.
Okay.
Brot has to completely like twist and pull the wheel around to stop it careening out of control, but she immediately yells out, "We can't take another hit like that." And we'll add to that, I'm going to make for the mountains, like right now.
Okay.
The lighter armed skiff, not currently within range to take proper cracks at, kind of peels off and comes around. It looks like they're trying to get on either side of you, and so it is getting closer. Vance, you're up.
I have one primary concern in this situation. It is almost a prime concern, which is called, I don't want to shoot a phaser rifle at people who have only slug thrower technology. So Vance is going to take his turn, essentially operating on the assumption that phasers have a visible blast more as a function of the user's convenience rather than as they are tools primarily, rather than it being necessity. Vance is going to take his round, adjusting the Nadion output and emitters on his phaser rifle so that when he does shoot it, it shoots an invisible blast, and thus he will not appear to be firing a fucking laser at this pre-warp civilization, whilst hunkering the fuck down.
That is baller as fuck. Yeah. I don't necessarily want to. That's like readying an action. I don't really want to attribute anything statistical to it.
It's not going to assist anything he's going to do in terms of shooting better. So I guess I'm spending this round. I'm spending this round not breaching the prime directive. Is
I made it. I did it. I did it, guys. That's the action I wanted to hear.
No, I want a fate point for that. Life aspect, redeeming the family name.
Oh, go ahead. You can have it.
Thank you.
I'm
I'm
give you
gonna
that.
need it later. It's a secret weapon that will help us later.
Dr. Burov.
I think Burov just hits the deck. Like,
Yeah.
Burov is not the combat monkey, and Burov's, upon being shot at, first response is, well, I'm going to get flat on the floor of the skiff and not be in the way and not get shot.
I like that. You are basically creating the advantage for yourself of, I've hit the deck. Go ahead and give me let's call it an athletics roll for that, just to see how strong you're frowning at me. I'm sure that's how that works.
It is. It was the word strong I was frowning at.
It's to see how what the ranking is for this advantage that you're creating for yourself.
-1.
What happens if a creative advantage is in a minus?
Like, technically speaking, I think the taking cover aspect is created, but Burov has no free invocations, I believe.
That makes
so
sense.
Burov could still utilize taking cover so long as that aspect exists, but Burov will have to spend fate points in order to use it.
Ah, clever.
Thus, you'd still gain something from spending a round doing it.
Yeah.
Even if you roll garbage. But it's not necessarily a free buff.
Speaking of rolling garbage, I'm gonna cash in because I've got a stack of helps and hinders to work through. From seeing nothing, I'm gonna cash in one of the major helps just to give Brot a bit of an advantage over this.
I assume you meant minor help, or has seen nothing spent many dollar.
Minor, I'm sorry.
What fucking ascends mid-episode.
Glowing rays out of every orifice. That's a prime directive breach right there. No,
that's a convenient
uses
distraction. That's what that is right there.
A minor help from seeing nothing, just to basically get this thing under control. You see, she slaps down a panel, hits a few heavy switches, and then punches down a lever, and there's this kind of whooping noise from the repulsion engines as it kicks up speed. It is still a very bumpy ride. This is going to particularly come into impact with Strange, as you are now on an unbalanced skiff, but it is now hurtling with a little bit more acceleration towards the mountains. Strange, you are up.
Okay, so I know what my next 2 actions are going to be.
But what order will you do them in?
This is the thing. I think my priority is still going to be secure the egg and then go fix the engine.
I like it.
I mean, the last thing we need is for the AV to break free and try to kill Strange halfway through this fight.
Exactly. It would be really awkward if I'm trying to, fix the engine. I'm in there trying to get it all going, and then the AV breaks out, gets into the engine with me, eats the engine, and then rams my face through what's left of it. That would just be really awkward. So let's secure the egg first.
We'll call that a creative advantage again of securing the egg. We'll do that with engineering, because I imagine I know how you apply. You apply with the engineer.
Yeah. Starfleet equivalent of put more bungee cords on it. Strap it to this weird roof rack that we've got. That's a +4.
Nice. So you got.
How many ratchet straps do I get?
You have a +4 for that, so that's 1 or 2 free invocations on that.
Looking at Kath.
Sorry, a +4.
Yeah.
Considering it takes a 2, I think that's 2 in free invocations, because you need to. It's a level 1 difficulty, so you need to get a 2 or higher to get the 1 free invocation. I think it goes up every 2 after that.
Okay.
Cool.
Check, but let's say that for now.
Yeah. Marauders go again. So the heavier duty one is actually going to struggle initially because it is not actually that great at turning, and one of the things that Brot has done is accelerate and turn. So they're going to make a pilot check first and foremost, which they barely pass, but I will use I'm not going to use a hinder for that. They aren't quite aligned with you yet, so they aren't able to take another shot. However, the slightly nippier speeder will essentially start pulling parallel to you, and there'll be a couple of cracks of rifle fire from the Tamalians on board. That is a straight up 2 to the ship. That has the risk of doing some real damage. Does anybody want to try and do something to try and stop that necessarily causing much in the way of stress?
I don't see how we could. And also,
Yeah.
I shoot them, so I've got to keep my precious fleshy innards on the inside.
Cool.
We could replace Dr. Brot. Thus far, Dr. Brot has not been much use.
Honestly, every time you say Dr. I keep thinking you're about to go, hey.
Oh no, Dr. Burov is great. Dr. Burov is staying out of trouble.
Yeah. Like, Dr. Brot is probably quite fixable by Dr. Burov.
Couldn't help but notice we're in a fight, and I will be useless. I'll see you in a bit.
Another
You'll be
spark.
probably extremely useful shortly afterwards.
Yeah, not needing saving is important.
A click whir of impact as another shot hits the skiff. It penetrates some kind of cooling component, and the hull starts hissing as it starts to leak whatever kind of vital system that is. You hear Brot, who is still... You say she's doing nothing. She's driving this thing.
She's not been doing it well.
She's
only rolled once.
No, she's rolled 3 times. Because she had to defend.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah.
That's what I'm giving her shit for.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Give her shit for that, because every time that we've been shot at, we've been shot.
Yeah, that's what I'm giving. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely give her shit.
I'm just going to backseat drive for this poor doctor.
My God.
Could
These
you
are
turn?
flooding
Could
in.
you turn?
I can do whatever I want now. Okay, let's start working through some of these. I think the challenge is as to whether or not I can use them all. So let's go.
Oh, no.
Redeeming a minor event hinder.
I don't need hinders.
We are our own
Strange.
hinders, chat.
Strange, you have
Oh, no.
you are just bracing the egg. There is the lurch from that initial impact. They look like they're coming in to sideswipe, and Brot goes as far as to just veer out of the way, only causing a minor clip. But you are sent careening. I'm going to need an athletics check for you.
Yep, that thing that the weedy boy is not that great at.
How many helps do we have available? Just
You have 3 helps available.
Just keep that in mind.
There
keep
are
that in mind.
6 hinders available.
Come on, chat. I've got the engineer and the doctor against 2 vehicles.
Kinder.
Plus 3? Is that enough not to fall off to my death?
You fall. There is nothing beneath you. You have this sickly moment, which you'll always remember, of just being sent backwards and seeing the skiff hurtling out from under you. Then that loose bit of railing that you had pulled away from the egg kind of snaps and swings around, and it slams into you, knocking the wind out of you, but you are able to hold on for dear life, and you begin climbing this partially dismantled railing back onto the skiff. That was a very close call. That stuntman is earning his pay.
Thank you very much, stunt double.
Let's work through some more of these. See nothing. Minor event. Help. The way that the skiff has been clattered into the side of means that Bros is doing a lot more swerving. However, this has the added advantage of the fact that it means that the front-facing fixed-mounted cannon on the heavier skiff is not able to get a fixed bead on you. A few shots ring out, but they are completely wasted as they just cannot predict the pattern. Let's see. Lt Burov. But yeah, let's roll around to your turn.
It's my turn next.
It is Vance's turn, yeah.
Lt
Burov, shut up! Stop talking. Lie down.
I would like to give Lieutenant Vance my turn.
Yeah, I didn't mean to be busy there.
No, you're right.
I feel
I don't
I have
just
to kill people.
Vance, you are up.
Okay. Yeah, Vance is gonna be able to. Arcady, help Adam, please, and go to lean out. Which one of the two vehicles is closer?
The lighter skiff, which is open top, is closer.
I don't want to shoot them. I'm gonna have to aim for well, I'm probably gonna have to hurt them, but shooting them one at a time isn't very efficient either anyway. So Vance is gonna whip out, if he has to like hook an arm around a bit of the frame of the open top skiff to both kind of brace himself and get a clear line of fire, he will do dumb risky positioning to try to get a decent shot.
That's cool.
And is going to try to aim for one of the front points of its repulsors. Because if he takes that out, then that stops giving any thrust. That might give us a lovely flip or a derail of some sort of vehicle. And is going to try to aim a shot at the vehicle.
I got a 3 on that pilot roll.
Okay. Phases. 2. That is a 6. I'm gonna increase that. I got a +2 on the dice. I'm going to spend my fate point and invoke the best defense is a good offense. So that gives me 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That gives me an 8. So that is a shift of I beat them by 5 shifts. Do I have any helps? I'd really like to take out one of these vehicles as like
let's have a look. Yeah, there's still a couple of helps on the board. I'm happy for you to spend that because you'd basically given it only a mild condition left. But yeah, with that additional oomph from the help, you managed to. You see a flapping panel on the side of it that is clearly dislodged, and you're getting just enough glimpse of what looks like intricate metalwork for you to go, "That's an engine." Yeah. And you get the Death Star shot off. There is a explosion, not massive, just on the underneath.
Probably also weird because once a pit arrives, clicks. There's probably like a whine of the phaser, but nothing seems to happen for everyone watching because there's no visual blast.
You see them like look at each other because in that very split second, we're like, "What was that?" And then. There's just this poof as the guts of this thing go blasting out from under it. It starts careening away. You see a few of them falling off and tumbling safely. No casualties as you completely eradicate one of the skiffs. Dr. Burov.
Well, I already had Arcady's turn planned out, so Vance didn't need to nag. But
I was trying to add vavavoom.
It's just it is important that Arcady is doing this of their own volition because they're mad at Strange.
That is a very fair point.
But mad at Strange doesn't mean let Strange fall to their death. I'm the chief engineer now.
Long live the king.
What are you doing? Succeeding you. What?
But yeah, they are decidedly They are decidedly awkward about getting over there because they're not a soldier who can combat crawl their way across a skiff. Nevertheless, they are trying to stay low and are, like, wedging themselves against the edge of the skiff and holding out a hand to Strange so that he at least has someone to grab onto.
I love it. I think we can resolve that. We can resolve Strange grabbing hold of Burov's arm. There's a bump as the skiff goes over a rock, and that kind of helps. Kind of you're both kind of stumbling properly onto the back now, and there's a moment where Strange is looking at Burov. Do they say anything?
Yes, he'll mostly, in between trying to get his breath back after being thrown off the skiff, he'll say, "Thank you," and then go off to whatever his next action is.
There is, as I redeem a hinder from Freddie McFuzzles, a similar but not nearly as catastrophic pop, and a few chunks of debris go skittering out from under your skiff. And Brot says, "We are going to need to abandon this. There's some tunnels in the mountain. I'm going to try and get us there." And she is going to do a quick pilot. That's pretty good.
Okay, that's good.
You are starting an uphill climb at this point, with that tail still dragging, but you can hear kind of like the decreasing whir, that kind of wum 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 of just this skiff is on its last legs. Strange, your go.
Okay. Which sounds like it's the most critical thing in the various problems that this skiff has?
The dragging
Is it
rear,
the dragging, the bleeding coolants?
The dragging rear is a problem as you are entering into rocky terrain, and so there's every possibility that that's going to make it harder for Brot to pilot the skiff. The coolant sounds like it's what's shutting down some of the internals, and some of the kind of capacitors are overheating. So that's possibly less important, but still important.
Okay, but as in the coolant sounds like it's probably the less important one. Even though that sounds like it's shutting down all the engines?
You're quite right. I would say the coolant is the more important one,
cool.
provided that Brot can successfully pilot.
Yeah.
Which she's been known to do.
Yep. In that case, Strange will... Presumably there's like a hatch or something to get into the inner workings of the skiff so that I can fix this from the inside rather than hang off the outside of the skiff, which sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's basically... the back of it's like a floating gantry built on an engine.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Let's jump into the engine and go find the coolant leak and patch it up.
Give me an engineering check.
8.
You are able to find... basically, it looks like some hosing has come loose, which is causing the majority of the leak. You're able to kind of grab that, jam that back into place, and with your phaser at a low level, kind of weld it back.
Spot weld it into place.
Yeah. And yeah, the skiff starts to pick up a little bit of speed as it takes on this uphill, ascension. Marauders go. I'm going to use the minor hinder from Tin Hat for it to basically, I don't want to say nitros, but there is clearly something that it is doing to gain on you now. Some reserves are being met. You can see some of the back chassis is peeling away from it as it's starting to hit an acceleration that it previously wasn't meant to, compromising its rear shielding, which at the moment it hasn't needed to defend, in order to gain the distance on you and get a good crack at the skiff. rolls garbage, and Brot is probably going to outperform that effortlessly. So there is a I do have 2 more hinders, but I have used one, and I kind of imagine them as fate points. I don't want to use too many at one go.
Well, also you have a finite number of fate points per scene anyway. Like, by which I mean to suggest those are there for a GM to burn in a scene.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know why I'm encouraging him.
Yeah, shut up, Cav.
Listen, fate is at its best when like fate points and shit are flying free.
I wish to.
The skiff is best when it's flying.
I wish to represent a member of our Patreons when I use their catchphrase. The rules help control the fun. That's for you, Ken.
I'm going to, in that instance, I'm going to change that initial attack. It's going to be hurtling towards Arcus Vance. Vance, I'm going to need you to defend against a 4 aimed right for your gun arm.
With an athletics. Ooh, that actually is a 2.
Damn.
I will take it because I have the stress to burn. Yep. I will just take a level 2 physical stress.
It's not a direct impact. It catches on some of the external hull of this skiff, but shrapnel kind of scorches past. You get the dramatic tear on the arm and the little trickle of blood.
That's not a good thing for my rad suit.
That's true. That is true, and I don't necessarily want to penalise you for that.
Oh, okay. I was just mostly being fisted. Like, he's probably got like something he can patch it up with, and some anti-rad meds.
Yeah,
like it's I see that as without a serious without a serious level compromising of the suit. This is a problem and an inconvenience, but it can be dealt with at the end of a scene.
Yeah. And that will stop the marauders. Go, Vance, you're up.
Okay, yeah. So were they shooting still mostly from the gun? The main emplacement?
They look like they actually can't get out and fire at hands. They've just got this one placement.
Okay, Vance is gonna, roll his shoulder, hiss, check his the suit isn't too badly compromised, and then heft his rifle and aim for the gun emplacement. He's gonna set the phaser to a slightly wider beam of at like the highest level, which is great because he doesn't have to worry about killing people because he wants to try to slag the barrel of the gun and mutter, "Oh, what a lovely day," and shoot it. That's garbage on the dice, so I am going to spend a fate point, invoke all for one and one for all to help the team, and re-roll because that was a -3 on the dice. That is better. That is a 6 in total.
Beat it by 3 shifts. That will burn through its stress and give it a mild condition. Do you have anything you can juice that with?
Sorry, anything to
juice that with?
I'll take a help if we've got any left.
Let's have a look. We do indeed from Frey McFuzzles.
Thank you, Frey McFuzzles. I'm sorry I gave you the angry I'm watching you eyes earlier.
We'll boost that to a moderate condition, and as you say, you slag the gun. From there, combat is going to wind down because as they do not have the means to pursue with any degree of aggression, the skiff just kind of peels off, starts heading down towards where the other one's kind of broken down. Brot lets out a slightly exhausted and not too enthusiastic whoop of victory, but as now the adrenaline is wearing down, it's clear that your own skiff has been utterly battered. She pushes a pad towards. She does the same thing she did with the binoculars, just kind of waves it in a general direction for someone to take. And it is simply I was going to say telemetry data, and I think that might be right. Kind of geographical mapping of where the cave network is. And she says, "We're not too far out. Everyone okay?"
Yeah, I'm scratched and nothing I can't. Don't worry, Dr. Burov. I don't think I was hit. It was mostly the suit and, repair kit sweeping it over.
Burov does the cursory rad check of like, yeah, he's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Strange
great.
hoists himself out of the engine and back onto the deck.
She gives you big. She actually wears fingerless gloves. Can't see them, rad suit, but it gives you big thumbs up. And says,
There's a much kind of weaker thumbs up in response.
She even kind of wipes the back of her gloved hand against the visor, wishing desperately she could mop her brow. And we see the skiff kind of trailing towards the rocks. Yeah, from there, I imagine we cut to the next scene of I'm going to keep calling it the egg. I know it's a cool looking, fully prop made sci-fi containment device, but the egg is being off-boarded. I imagine there's a degree to it because it's probably quite heavy, but given the skiff's scrap anyway, you could probably jury rig a repulsion system beneath it to make it easier to travel.
We say the skiff scrap.
Is the skiff
We
scrap?
have a Starfleet engineer with us.
That is true.
Yeah, how scrap are we talking?
Let's have a good look at its stats for you.
We turn it into like a shitty buggy. If we can't fix it, what can we do
with this?
Become?
Yes.
Close my spreadsheet.
On this week's episode of Scrappy Challenge,
we made a trebuchet. We could fire the egg towards the OBS post 2,
Yeah,
or
a
we could
trebuchet-
fire Strange at OBS post 2.
if we can make the trebuchet work twice, why not both?
And with no drawbacks.
It's on a mild consequence and has the stress is all recovered.
Well then.
So yeah, it is, if not repairable outright immediately due to lacking materials, definitely convertible into a buggy.
I have the book open on the recovering from a consequence section if you would like to know more.
Please
I would like to know more.
Every day's a learning day.
To recover from a consequence requires 2 actions. Succeeding at an action allows you to justify a recovery, and then waiting an appropriate amount of time for that recovery to take place. That's for eliminating them entirely. So essentially, Strange would have to make a couple of engineering checks for each one. So for a mild, it would be a +2 difficult. It's a mild and a moderate that it's taken, right?
It's only taken a mild.
Oh, it's only taken a mild to that. So Strange needs to succeed at an engineering check. The difficulty of this obstacle is based on the shift value, so it's a +2. It is a +2 difficulty, which I'm trying to tell if that actually means it's a 1 difficulty and requires...
It requires 2, or whether it's a +2 and thus requires a 3.
And my read has always been that it's a 2 and you've got to beat 2.
Yeah, so
yes.
so it's a 2, so it requires
Although
a 3.
technically a tie is you succeed with a mild consequence or you succeed to lesser effect.
Yeah. But to actually succeed, it needs to be 3. Okay.
Also, let's go ahead and see what we can do.
Also, afterwards, technically a mild consequence only needs to wait 1 whole scene after the recovery action to be completely gone.
Yeah, cool.
So technically, a mild recovery is something should theoretically represent damage which Strange could fix with a little bit of time, as opposed to it's going to be juggling around.
Yeah.
Stupid system.
I would like to try and fix this skiff then.
Go
because
ahead.
bugger taking this egg through the caves.
I don't care if you wanted us to go in the caves, Michael. We're not going in the caves with the egg.
And that is 8 on the dice. So I think we're good.
You are good.
It's better than it ever was. The mild consequence is now makes a funny rattling noise. We're not sure where it's from. A scene later, like Brot just thumps it and it stops making the rattling noise.
Yeah, you get the buggy in working order. Brot's kind of looking at the data that's around and says, well, I guess we have several options. I imagine if we keep on out in the open, we're potentially going to attract more attention like that.
Any idea why we attracted attention in the first place?
I can only imagine if they've gotten so desperate as to start attacking what they must be perceiving as other crews, that there might have been substantial damage done to a part of the ecodome somewhere, possibly during the storm. It could be they're not a vengeful people, so that speaks of desperation, which isn't great, but.
And also, I hate to say it, but every community's got its bad eggs.
True. I might have just been very fortunate to have not encountered them, but maybe in the last 5 years circumstances have changed locally beyond my attention. I'm usually focused to a nearby town and city rather than what the outliers of society might be doing. So the options that are ahead of us are the cave network or moving through the mountains.
Do we know a route through the caves?
I've been able to track one down. It's always been a concern of mine that if I was caught in a storm and it looked like it was unlikely to pass, that I might need a route through the caves in order just to be shielded from the weather. So there is one that I know. I've never traversed it myself, but I have been able to get sufficient scans to suggest that it is intact. The
And
mountains. Sorry?
There ain't no particular reason why you've not done it before.
Solely that I haven't been caught in bad weather when I've been moving from outpost to outpost.
But you do know the route through the mountains.
She hefts the pad. I have it imaged completely.
No. I mean the mountain pass route, the overland route. You're familiar with that route.
Yes, I've traversed it before. The only issue is it may take a little longer just because of the amount of different terrain we'll need to cross. Certainly longer than the gestures to the flats.
Seems kind of 50-50 to me. My concern is if we run into the tunnels, we might end up in trouble we can't really get ourselves out of. I mean, if you're worried that we're still going to be potentially targeted up in the mountains, fight's no good neither. Oh, no. You think that we might still possibly be targeted again if we go through the mountains, right, Dr. Brot?
Yes.
And then I think we probably got to take the tunnels to minimize the risk of encountering the locals again, even if this is a more uncertain route.
I would be inclined to agree.
Already just had to open fire at a pre-warp civilization, whilst I think we kept cultural contamination to a minimum. We can't confirm that a future encounter couldn't have catastrophic consequences.
Similarly, for the aggressors that pursued us, they will think that we are going through the pass. We know for certain, they will know for certain that the mountains are traversable. They may not know of this network. I was only able to find it from advanced scanning from an orbital sense.
Okay. I don't like the idea of taking the confined underground route, but I think they're both pretty awful options, so we'll go with the one which is less likely to cause a Prime Directive violation.
Okay. And we get a shot of the team traversing through the cave set. It is fairly craggy the moment you get to the interior of it. Quite dank, but not water that you'd really want to be drinking. It might be difficult to. This is the plan to carefully travel with the skiff through the network, or are you disembarking the egg and going on foot?
Taking the skiff.
Cool.
If nothing else, it's ablative armor.
That's very true. There's
It can take the hits first.
The temerity, damn it.
If there is, however, a risk of us needing to abandon the skiff for the egg, that's probably a reason to reconsider going, not tunnels. Because so far as Vance is concerned, we need speed rather than... It's already going to be a 2-day drive, we said to the Obs post via skiff. I'm not walking that with the egg.
No. This route has been specifically picked out so that it can provide a direct route and not need any It might need disembarking from the skiff purely from this part's quite low down, and so we push it through. And in fact, I imagine that is the kind of shot that features in the montage that we get of the traversing through the area. We see kind of the skiff maneuvering through and over various openings, quite large, maybe even cavernous areas where the skiff is just a small blip of light moving through with a shimmering pool, and possibly even what would essentially be a scene of rest with the skiff to a complete standstill. Starfleet falling onto training of, if stranded and in suit, ration out by this, sleep in these cycles, and just awkward campfire scene.
Vance transparently hates being in a confined and dark space. For the record, this is a specific additional. He does not like this.
This sucks. This sucks completely. This sucks on
Sure,
high.
Burov's fine. Well, in this specific additional modifier.
I was born underground. I didn't see sunlight for 8 years. My bones are very weak.
You couldn't have brought this Bane energy to the fight.
That was out in the open. They weren't molded by the mountains, are they? They were molded by the caves and the darkness.
I think
you need me to get into the walls? I can get into the walls if you like.
Not again. Not again. You don't need Arcady in the walls again.
Everyone
it helped last time.
It helped, yeah. It definitely helped before.
It never doesn't help.
It never doesn't help you.
Yeah. It's orcs and it's threatening. You do not get any immediate indication of being pursued, and that's the good thing. Certainly you think if anyone was following you from the skiffs that you saw, they couldn't maneuver in quite the same way, and so it is unlikely that if you are being pursued, it will be through any transportational based means. And whilst you're not necessarily going walking speed, you are going a little bit quicker than you might do on foot in places, so likelihood is you are getting some decent distance away. And this will kind of conclude what will be the first day of travel. And we see those shots of a miserable looking team, apart from Burov, who is going native, speaking to stalactites. We will cut briefly back to Starbase 183. Give me 1 second. Yes, Starbase 183.
Yeah.
I think the scene that we get opens with the full face of the Ferengi door, spitting as they say, completely unacceptable. To which Tre says, I think you'll find it's perfectly acceptable. It's good natured, it's fun. It's an opportunity to once more prove your prowess against me. We shouldn't need to prove our prowess against you again. We went fair and square last time. You did. I will grant you that. So how about, rather than double or nothing, triple or nothing? You see the Ferengi's eyes light up. He looks up to his taller brother, friend, lover. It's not been stated.
Other Ferengi.
This mute Ferengi just kind of nods, and Dor says, "Acceptable. Acceptable. However, we will dictate the program." It flashes that sharp-toothed grin. Tre goes, looks at Cantos. Yeah?
Would you mind elaborating on what you would like to pick my way of the program?
The Ferengi grin, or still grinning, says, I am thinking a small degree of obstacle. Perhaps a small asteroid belt to have to navigate through as part of the lapse. Nothing more than that. We could go for some solar flares if you wish.
No, asteroid belt and other assorted small obstacles is fine by me.
Same ships as last time. Tre says, I don't see a problem with that unless you... Do you want to port the Iskandar in it?
No.
I think it basically is the same size of the course, so arguably a win.
No.
Okay, that's fine. Then we'll keep it the same ships as last time. Same terms, triple or nothing. The Ferengi says, good. Thrust out a hand. Tre takes it, shakes it, and then looks up at Cantos. We will see you in an hour.
See you in an hour.
The Ferengi trot off, to which Tre says, okay.
Okay, what ship were you using last time for this?
Same model as my father's. Nothing you haven't flown before.
Okay.
Sounds like a pretty good deal.
It sounds like a deal, and it doesn't sound like a terrible one.
Great.
So
then, superb. We've got an hour to kill. What do you want to do?
Any suggestions for what you'd like to do for the next hour?
Well...
That isn't a practice joyride.
I think I at least owe you dinner. You can't fly on an empty stomach, after all.
That's true. That's very true.
Then great.
Dinner sounds like a good plan.
I know a place. And they offer you their arm to link.
And Cantos will link arms.
And the two of you head deeper into Starbase 183. We cut back to the skiff.
God, Athan and Talandra are having the loveliest mission.
More tea, Captain.
Yes, that sounds very nice. Thank you.
The replicator has done a wonderful job of these Madlands.
That tickled me. It was the Talandra combo.
I'm not sorry. I will do it again.
The skiff, we see the team moving alongside the skiff. It's one of those shorter roofed tunnels, and so it's less on board. You're more kind of flanking it as it's being kind of essentially pushed and guided. We see Vance probably taking point, Brock possibly crouched down in the driving seat just to kind of work the steering wheel. Strange and Burov following behind. And I think Vance, it isn't too late when you notice it, but it's certainly too late to act. It wasn't your fault. There was nothing that would have caused you to be looking for it. Knowing that you were going to be potentially pursued, but in this narrow place, you were solely focused on where you were going. And when the beeping starts from just ahead of you and over your shoulder, and very quickly accelerates, you realize, possibly with a nasty flashback to recent explosions that you've been in, it's too late. You spin around. You see the device. You get that moment where you can really register it as quite ramshackle. That's a very little comfort, as positioned towards the rear of the skiff as you've passed under it, it detonates. The skiff lurches forwards. You are shunted against the rock as it slams you against the wall. You aren't pinned, but you take a nasty hit to the ribs. From behind, Strange, it is so close to you. You are knocked completely to the ground, ringing in your ears, completely dazed as you struggle to get your bearings. And you get to see what happens to Lt Burov. The stalactites and the rock that was arcing on the cave wall above them just sloughs down. You see the floor giving out too as they lurch and drop. You see the hair whipping up as whatever hole they drop down into is immediately concealed by rock. And you lose complete sight of the Doctor as she is sent skidding out of view and out of immediate reach. Lt Burov, this is a minor hinder, by the way, but I will also give everyone fate points because I am steering the narrative at this point.
We are not mad at that. Also, just to confirm, did you mean Burov or did you mean Brot?
I mean Burov.
It's just you said she, so I thought you were referring to Brot.
I do apologise. I misgendered. I do 100% mean Burov. Burov, you find we see the actor kind of stumbling and pratfalling down a fairly nasty decline. When they hit the floor, bruised and with that dramatic trickle of blood from a streak across the forehead, it is partially in water. You are struggling to get your bearings. Your side hurts. You think something's wrong with your leg. You want to start looking at that, and there's the ringing in your ear, possibly burns too. A part of you is probably thinking about the condition of the suit. And as the ringing fades away, you hear rushed footsteps coming towards you.
Oh, fuck.
There is a shrill whirring noise not like a weapon that you're familiar with. And ahead of you, rounding the corner, comes an individual in a radiation suit, streaked with yellow. This is not one of the crew. They have a weapon in hand, and they are slowly approaching you. What do you do?
Puts their hands up in the universal symbol of, I'm not holding a weapon. Please don't shoot me. Oh God, I'm so fragile.
The weapon lowers, still held quite close. They close the distance and crouch down. And that is when you can get a decent look into the visor. And you recognize the face that looks at you. It is Lt Burov.
Fancy seeing you here.
Vitaly.
And just by luck, you drop out of the sky. Very convenient, I think.
Arcady will immediately, like, they had their like their, you know, whatever the like painkiller adrenaline thing is for their leg, which they dropped like when they thought someone was holding a weapon to them, and like slowly they'll just go pick it up again, making eye contact with him. This is where you are hiding out the whole time.
On this shithole? No. No. Trying to stay one step ahead of Starfleet, but
Looks like you've done a great job of it so far.
And then need a little bit of assistance in getting my ship fixed. So happened to scan nearby, see your ship coming down land, watch on some sensors. Try to find a good opportunity to get that assistance. So, Arcady, really what I'm going to ask, he says, you know, slightly casually waving around that high-powered disruptor. Going to help your brother out with a favor?
Vitaly, is it true?
Is what true?
What you did.
I've done many things, Arcady. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that it's become necessary. I don't like that Starfleet and the Cardassians have pushed us on and on to be in this situation, but it's just like before.
Vitaly, I didn't have a question about the socio-political state of our part of the galaxy. I'm asking about you.
You're asking... All that I am doing is to do with the socio-political situation is our family, Arcady. It is our home and what it is going to be and what it is going to become. All that I have done, you know me, all that I have done has been for family.
How did you help the family by killing a Starfleet ambassador?
I am not an assassin. I do not make plans to go to the middle of nowhere in Cardassian space and murder ambassador. Does that sound like that was a plan? Or does that sound like a situation which went really tits up?
So I'm supposed to be pleased that rather than a planned assassination, you haphazardly murdered top-level diplomats on a whim?
It wasn't on a whim, and also, I don't think you're supposed to be pleased, but I am not Machiavellian murderer hunting down assassin.
It's still a choice you made. It's still a position you put yourself in, and lives have been lost because of it.
I did not have a choice. The options were that or incarceration in a situation the Cardassians would have pushed for me, for my friends, to have ended up in their custody. I do not like it, but somebody's life was on the line. I did not have liberty of trusting that Starfleet would come in and sweep up and make everything better, which they have never done before. I had to choose. I chose the people who have stood with me and to protect them. The guns everywhere, pointed at everyone. I had limited options of how to get out of that situation with me and my crew alive. I am sorry that the ambassador died. But I did what I had to do to get my crew out of there.
No, Vitali. You did what you thought you had to do. It's a world of difference, Vidya.
I think you've spent a little bit too much time with Starfleet if you think that we have choices.
I think you've not spent enough time with Starfleet if you don't know that we have choices. And you make choices every day. Every member of the miners stands up and makes a choice every day when they fight this. You did this to you, Vitya.
As of yet, Starfleet have yet to give me any reason to think that they are not repeating the past, or even to make amends for the things that they have done in the past. However, whether I am right or wrong, or you are right or wrong, does not really change the material conditions of our current predicament. Your predicament.
Well then. Help me up.
Vitali shifts gun to left hand, does reach out, pull Arkady up.
Maybe then it's time to show you that Starfleet is not what you think we are.
Well, if that could include a little bit of Starfleet assistance, and by which I mean your assistance on the ship, repairing some things, getting me out of some trouble, beam you out of here, then you can return to Starfleet. I don't care. Mother might care.
Don't use her against me. Every time you do this, she supported me. It's Father who's the problem.
Well, Father won't be happy about it either.
Good. Let him be unhappy. He loves being unhappy. He spent the last 55 years being unhappy about one thing or another.
Doesn't have a great deal to be happy about under such circumstances.
Put the disruptor away.
Well, I'm not going to shoot you.
If you want our help, then you need to help us help you.
I really want an hour. I'd rather just have... You have a better head for mechanisms. Besides, you're going to ask your fellow officers to just help your brother fix up his ship so he can sidle out of danger. And then what? Go on my merry way without any of them being good stalwart officers of their oath and duty and try to, shoot or arrest me, huh?
I'm not going to lie. Today has been kind of trying for being a good stalwart Starfleet officer. So I think if any day you're going to get a bit of leeway from Starfleet, maybe it's today, and you should act a bit grateful for it.
Be grateful for your assistance. That's all I want.
Oh yeah, you want a broken-legged Starfleet doctor with a half a screwdriver to come help you.
See what can be done with the leg. Get you back with your friends. I don't know these others.
They're my fellow officers, Vitya.
And if you say, help my brother, do not arrest him, they will go, okay, Arkady, we will help the assassin.
Thought you said you want an assassin, just some mindless killer.
I did not say mindless. I said
aimless.
Man in... My aim is very good. Man in a corner. And also, you accuse me of assassin. What will people who are not even family going to think that I am?
Look, just because I am your family doesn't mean you get the benefit of the doubt immediately from me.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I don't think that your Starfleet friends are going to take kindly to assisting me and then letting me go.
I'm just saying you seem to know an awful lot about Starfleet for someone who's never had a full 10-minute conversation with anyone in Starfleet.
We're having a 10-minute conversation.
I don't count, Vitya, you know that.
You say I'm wanted, man. What I do not need is Starfleet officer on my ship where I need to sit there while they do repairs and I have to have a gun pointed to the back of their head because otherwise I have to worry about them putting a tracking device or making sure that my warp core is leaking a bit so warp signature be picked up later or a myriad of other Starfleet bullshit technological tricks.
A device went off. They could be hurt.
Then you help me quick.
Vitya. Boshmoy, why do you do this to me?
Because I need help and you're the only one right now within 10 light years that I can ask without getting immediately shot and arrested on sight.
You did something bad, Vitya. How long can you keep running away from it?
I started this road for a reason. That hasn't changed. That hasn't been fixed.
It's not going to be fixed if you keep down this path.
No, I'm not going to be held responsible for the Cardassians continuing to get bullshit at their border.
Mm-hmm. And murdering an ambassador sticks it to the Cardassians' hell.
Wasn't the plan.
I know. I'm just saying these are decisions that you have made, Vitya.
Handing myself in then means that there is nobody who's doing anything for Rikoya Minor to try to fight back against this.
You don't need to fight against this.
Who's fighting for us? Who's doing anything for us?
Why are you giving anyone a reason to do anything for you when as soon as someone reaches out their hand to help you, you try to bite it off?
No, that ambassador was not reaching out a hand to help me. That ambassador was part of Starfleet continuing to cozy up to the Cardassians who come to invade, pillage lands, kill our people, get defeated in war, and then the Cardassians get all of the post-war supplies, assistance, and the miners get nothing.
Rikoya Minor was asked to move. It wasn't nice, but we were given the choice. We could be living anywhere in the galaxy. We could be mining some other fucking shithole moon on the other side of space.
Who has the right to ask us to move?
Starfleet had the right to ask us to move.
At what? They have the right because they have the phasers. That is what gives them the right. Who gives them the right, the entitlement to our shitty hunk of rock, where we have lived, where our family has lived?
Why does that matter, Vitya? Humans have been moving around the galaxy for aeons.
Because my home is not something to be sacrificed so that the Federation, who have given us nothing, can continue to play nice with the Cardassians, who have killed so many of us.
So you wage war with the Cardassians, you wage war with Starfleet, you wage war with the Federation?
And
then what? And then you die? And then our brothers die? And then our uncles and our aunts die fighting the Cardassians? And then what's left of our home? Nothing. Our mother and our little brothers just sat there sad that the family's been decimated. How does this help us? And why do you think Starfleet will help us now that a member of Rikoya Minor is a known murderer? How have you helped the miners by doing this?
And what is your way, Arcady? Yes, Starfleet. We'll give up our home where our family has lived generations. We'll move to this place because our lives were so inconvenient for your politics. And then what happens the next time our lives are inconvenient for what two major powers who don't give a shit about us do? We're always being asked. And then when we say no, When we say no, the Cardassians come with guns. Were we being asked, or were we being forced?
You and I were too young to get involved in all of that when it happened. We don't know what they did.
Heard enough.
All we know is what our uncles told us. What Father told us.
What's the Starfleet version of events?
The Starfleet version of events... I'll do that in a sec. Could you get me the plug? Could you get me the plug? Sorry, I'm really cold, Vitya.
It's okay, you get blanket. You get the little electric blankie.
I need my electric blanket or I'll be cold. It's cold, we're underground. It's frightening, what do I do? Vitya, what I know is that... Is the plug in here? Oh, sorry, I can't see it. It's under all those boxes. Oh, thank you, my love. Vitya.
Desperately reread my brief. You said this would happen before a break, Mike. I thought I was going to cut to break after I said, hello, Arcadiendo.
Yes, I also expected a break and was talking until silenced.
Well, this seems like a great place for a break. Honestly, you two hit the flow so much, I didn't want to interrupt, but I do need a wee, so I am happy to call a break there. Yeah, let's
force it when someone does a dramatic entry one-liner. Then you go,
yeah, that's
where we'll take a break.
Yeah. Mea culpa. You're both so charismatic and such good role players. But yeah, we'll time out there. Let's grab a quick 15. Come back around 5 to 10. Get yourself a drink. Read a brief. Whatever you fancy. And yeah, we'll catch up with the gang then. We'll go right back to Cantos' irreverent space race.
Mandatory displacement of an entire people for geogalactic politics. Space race?
Yeah. Or we could do pod racing, but better.
Alright, back in 15. See you soon, guys. Bye. Welcome back to Star Trek Iskandar. Yeah, fuck you. Just as a note before we get into the latter chunk of this episode, this whole Vitali sequence was bought with your money, specifically the money from follower Marid, who is a friend of ours in the real life, very, very good individual. And yeah, none of this would have happened if they hadn't donated. So this is what a moderate hinder feels like. It makes us as DMs have to make up shit on the spot and then frantically PM people who are playing the game being like, hey, what about if we did this? Are you down to clown with this NPC later on? So yeah.
Making Kath and Izzy argue in Russian accents for a few minutes.
If your money could be better spent than making Kath and Izzy argue in Russian accents, I want to know about it. Because that's 1-to-1 the best thing you can buy.
Or you can make any of us argue in any accent we can or cannot do.
Other accents and other arguments are available. Buy your moderate hinders now.
Speaking of hinders incarnate, we'll go to the smaller hinder incarnates that has been introduced this session. Or rather, this episode.
Cantos was introduced ages ago, Mike.
The holodeck on Starbase 183. It is very much like the Deep Space Nine inbuilt ones. It's not attached to a cool Ferengi bar, but the Ferengi flavor is still present because there are a couple of Ferengi milling outside of the holodeck as Cantos and Tre swagger up. I think swagger is the perfect verbiage for how these two move in any situation.
But especially in this situation.
I feel there's like a bit of a slow-mo montage with like some AC/DC or something.
Yeah.
Back in black. Tre says to Cantos as they're getting close. All right. Good meal, good dessert, good time.
Very good dessert.
No good race.
A good time.
See, it's not all bad times with me.
We're not done yet. So
That's true. That's true. Anything can happen in the next half hour.
very true.
The Ferengi kind of straighten up. You are ready then, I take it.
Ready when you are.
Then right this way. You all step into the holodeck. The Ferengi asks for... it gives a random string of numbers, and you find yourself on a fairly small, utterly impractical, basically dock that has 2 entrances and 2 ships. One of which is a light Ferengi cruiser, and one of which is a carbon copy of Tre's dad's ship. And the Ferengi give you a look over, and they say, "We would wish you a good race, but we don't want that to happen. I hope you understand."
Of course. May the best pilot win.
"I'm sure we will." The taller one goes, "Huh." And then they head into their ship.
Swagger onto Tre's ship.
Tre follows. There's only 1 seat up for the pilot, and so Tre is most likely going to be standing around the back of you and says, "Yeah, you know how this flies? We're going to get..."
Any tips and tricks that you haven't shown me she can do?
"Oh, I get the feeling that even with your cursory glance at what she's capable of, you know her probably better than any pilot ever could."
Fair enough.
I guess the only other advice
settled
is...
themselves into the pilot seat.
Oh, and don't get shot. The Ferengi appears on the screen. "Are you ready?" "Yes, absolutely. We are ready." And then Big 3 shows up on the viewport. 2,
Cantos kind of braces at the controls.
1, and then both ships lurch
And we're
into
off.
action. Let us do opposed pilot checks for the first run.
That is 4 for me.
They are on a 2. You get an early lead on the Ferengi vessel. Interestingly enough, on the viewport's display, markers are appearing that indicate where you need to go. Essentially, almost like a video game, implying rings that the ship must be maneuvered into. It's an unusual combination that you are in a holographic ship, and then there are further holographic overlays happening. But yeah, you get an early lead as you peel away, skirting around a fairly pretty-looking gas cloud. Tre lets out a hoot of delight, and you crest around the corner, heading towards the second leg. It is at this point, true to Tre's warning, the Ferengi vessel will open fire. I'm going to need a pilot check from you again.
7.
5. A few shots crest above the brow. They aren't able to get a bead on you. Tre.
Yeah, Cantos will kind of, if the shots are kind of going over the top, then Cantos will kind of steer the ship to do a kind of swooping dive sort of motion out the way.
Tre is laughing at this. This seems to be going very well for them.
Do we have our own weapons on this?
There is, yes. There is at the very top and the bottom of the ship. There are pivoted gun mounts for clearing up asteroid blockages and the likes.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind getting one of them gunner seats?
You know what? Why not? They go skipping down the gantry, vault it onto the stairs, and go running down to the guns. However, as they're getting into position on the guns, you start to head for the asteroid field.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a very tricky thing to navigate. We are sitting on a 6 in terms of a obstacle to overcome. So your pilot roll will need to beat 6.
Okay. Probably do that. Eight.
You do indeed. It isn't even close. Let's see how the Ferengi vessel do. They are struggling indeed. You see them kind of clip one of the asteroid. The sleek ship kind of spins out a little, but they are able to swoop around. They are cut off in terms of maneuverability as they right out and have to kind of bank away an awkward way around the asteroid belt. Tre, you hear Tre from beneath you yelling, "You see that? Direct hit!"
Nicely done.
We cut to the
Loop
interior.
gracefully round the next asteroid.
Interior of the Ferengi vessel. They're rocking around. They just hit the asteroid. It looks like Dor kind of snarls at that and goes, "Computer, increase difficulty for them." And then ahead of you, suddenly flickering into appearance, come denser and denser asteroid fields. Very, very obviously just being programmed in. You hear Tre go, "Oh no! Oh no!"
Sneaky little bastards.
You even see them as they hit the same asteroid field. The asteroids are just moving away to make room for their vessel. But you are in a position where you have to make another piloting check. This time at again, it's going to be a 6 difficulty.
Okay. That's a 5. So I guess we're looking at spending fate points here.
We are indeed.
So brash hotshot pilot feels like the most appropriate aspect to invoke here.
That'll do it, yeah. Like, what does that look like?
So what that looks like, we'll do some of this will be as piloting, but some of it I think Tre can get involved in as well. So as Cantos is about to fly into this denser asteroid field, they'll say to Tre, "See if you can break up some of the asteroids on their side of things. Give them more obstacles to dodge."
Right you are. Pew, pew, pew.
Meanwhile, Cantos focuses very much on the piloting side of things and just starts constantly kind of ducking and weaving and kind of looping around the much denser asteroid field that's in front of them. There's probably one point where one of the asteroids is kind of moving and looks like it's about to move right in front of where they're about to go, and they kind of dive at the last second.
We cut to the interior.
And then barrel roll out of the asteroid field at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotta, right? It's gotta be a nod back to the earlier space flight.
Oh, absolutely.
We see the interior Ferengi ship. Dor's looking more and more frustrated. "We can't lose. Depp, we can't lose. That's 12 bars of latinum." And Depp, speaking for the first time, "That's a lot of latinum." "Yes, that's a lot of latinum! Computer!" Kind of card close up on Dor's face. "Take out their right thruster." I know that's obvious, but do it. I'm gonna redeem a minor hinder rather, as the right thruster gutters down, bringing the Ferengi vessel neck on neck with yours in the final leg.
Wow.
We see Dor in the pilot seat.
Candace probably kind of glances over, and I'm going to assume that the way this is set up is that I can see, like, if I look out the window, Dor's kind of cackling at me.
Yeah.
Candace will just kind of quirk an eyebrow, grin.
Okay.
As we go into the next.
This will be the final roll of the race. So this is where you want to burn things.
Okay.
I'm on a 7.
I'm on a 5. So, do I want to re-roll that? Because that's a flat 0 on the dice. Take a +2 to equal you.
I don't know what we do in a tie.
I don't know what we do in a tie. Generally just trying to crunch the numbers and go, which one's more likely to get me ahead?
I love it.
I don't know if it is actually rolling the dice. Oh, a calf.
Who's the attacker? Because technically in a contest, someone's attacking and someone's defending. Because a tie would favour the... I think a tie would favour the attacker. I could double check that. I'm sorry, I was playing with my cat.
No. The cat is a very important thing.
I was looking at this earlier, and I'm trying to remember. It was under somewhere creating advantage.
I would say that Tre and Cantos are the attackers, solely because the Ferengi are trying to defend their win.
Yeah.
That's good logic.
Overcome. No, overcome. Create advantage. Attack. No. Attack, it doesn't. If the attacker, when you tie an attack, you don't cause any harm, but you gain a boost.
Okay.
And it says an attack isn't always physical in nature, but I'm assuming we're using attack. Overcome is not generally listed as PvP, is the reason why I'm going with attack rather than because that would just be a set thing.
Yeah.
So it really, if you're treating it as a sort of an opposed roll as opposed to an opposed against a DC, it sounds like an attack. So if you tie an attack, you don't cause any harm, but you gain a boost.
Okay. Cool. I will take that.
Which would theoretically would require a roll off for which. My suggestion is it would require a final roll-off for which Cantos has a boost.
Yep. I will. No, I like that. I think that's a fairly good outcome. So this will be the roll-off. You have a boost of +2.
Okay.
On top of everything else. So let's give it a go.
The boost of 2. That's only 4.
3.
Even with... Yes!
By a nose. You hear Tre beneath you going, "They're gating! They're on us! They're passing!"
No, they're not. And then, since the aspect of Invoke to spend the fate point to get to this point is probably going to be, there's a time and place for the book somewhere else and not now. If this was a car street race, what Cantos would be doing would be trying to veer towards them to make them swerve off the road. So it's the flight equivalent of that, the space flight equivalent of that. Not actually ramming them, just spooking them.
So here's how it looks from their view. Dor, wide eyes, spitting at the mouth, sees the ship coming in. You see him kind of gripping at the I've seen like joystick and steering wheel; those aren't applicable. But he's like, "Oh, you want a ram, do you? Oh, let's bring it on!" And then just Depp leans over, hits a button, and the ship veers back just in time to stop it from being rammed. And because you didn't spook Dawes, you did spook the big guy. And he in that moment just shuts back. You know, and you cross the finish line. There's holographic sparks. Tre comes running up the gantry, and it's when they're level with you that it fades back to the holodeck. Fist pumping. Yeah, we did it. Ferengi are cursing and spitting nearby. Well, one of them is, and yeah, Tre is like, that was amazing. That was legitimately amazing.
Well, thank you very much.
The Ferengi come sulking over.
Cantos has the smuggest grin on their face.
Ferengi goes, well, you see, the thing about it is, we don't have
well
the 12.
Flown.
Yeah, yes, that too. Well flown, yes, good race. Not bitter about it in the slightest.
No.
So
Sorry, you were saying something.
No latinum on us. We thought we were going to get paid. So...
I see.
What if we called it even?
Well, it's not my position to make the call on that, since it's Tre here that you would owe the debt to.
When Cantos looks at Tre, they have an opportunity to communicate to them basically their preferred outcome. Even if it's just a quirk of the brow or a shrug. What would Cantos like Tre to do in this moment?
Cantos wants Tre to leave it.
All right. I think that is going to be a discrete skill roll from you.
Yeah, rapport, I think.
Definitely. I think rapport, yeah.
Yeah, eliciting positive emotions, etc.
Yep.
Yeah. The rapport check. +2.
Tre has... You catch their eye. They look hesitant, resistant. Then they sigh and go, we'll call it even. The Ferengi laughs. Ha! You idiot! I mean, well chosen. Yes! Call it even. And the next time you see us, we'll take it from there. Come on! And Dor and Depp step out of the holodeck. And Tre kind of looks a little exasperated at you. There was 12 bars of latinum.
It would have been 12 bars of latinum now. But how long do you reckon it would have been before they'd have come along and said best of 3?
Oh, probably hours.
I'd give it 2 hours. Yeah, I'd give it about 2 hours at this point before they said best of 3.
Maybe you're right. Well, okay. That's playing around with Ferengi money gone, I suppose. But well flown.
And still a race 1. So.
Despite their cheating, which we didn't bring up, which frankly would probably see some latinum thrown in our favour anyway.
It probably would if you wanted to push it, but that's playing around with Ferengi.
Well, I'm going to tell you something that I've never told anyone in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I owe you one.
Wow.
I honestly thought you were going to hit the brakes before the finish line and then just leave me struggling with Ferengi debt. That's the worst kind of debt. Never gets out.
What do you take me for? Hit the brakes.
Hey, we could do a second dessert.
We could do a second dessert. I feel like at the very least, this needs a celebratory drink.
Great. That is Starfleet thinking right there.
Shall we? And mirroring Tre's gesture from earlier, Cantos holds out their arm.
Yeah. They
for Tre to
link,
take.
and you head out of the holodeck.
And kind of as we're leaving, there's probably just kind of like a passing line of, which bar was it you saw the Ferengi in again?
Oh, the given name.
Let's go to, and Cantos names a completely different one on the opposite side of the Starbase.
Starfleet thinking. I'm telling you.
And off they go.
Off they go. We cut back to...
Arcady's leg is broken.
Meanwhile,
got there
back in the
enormous-
A-plot.
Enormous fucking disruptor.
God, of the wine NBs, I feel like Arcady got the fucking short shrift. Arcady has become a marshmallow.
Arcady actually does get the short. Like, Cantos never had to climb in the walls because the chief engineer went murderous.
Yeah, we cut back to the Arcades, the Burovs.
The Arcady. It's
How-
like the Odyssey, but
How far away is Vitaly's ship from where Arcady fell?
so Burov is agreeing to go with. Is that where you're how you're envisioning this?
That's
Because
how I.
Vi-
That's
Vitaly
how I.
hasn't said,
So that's how I ended the scene in my head. The scene got
Okay.
cut kind of short. I don't want to.
because it's gonna be a transporter. It's gonna be a beam out. Apparently.
So we, instead of returning to interior cave, we probably return to interior ship.
I can't remember what that ship is called.
I don't remember what it was called either.
Quick, return to
Also,
trouble
it's-
and strife. You can find out.
It's Evelina's ship anyway.
Was. Oh,
No.
Everly's alive.
Lara's the dead one. I had to double check and write that down.
Then I think that the scene opens with like Arcady full on engineering something like. You know,
Yeah.
they're taking off the rad suit, sleeves rolled up, under a panel.
Like Vitaly is kind of sitting back watching, but not getting involved. Somewhere off screen is like a shape which might be interpreted as Evelina, but we haven't actually paid for the actress in this episode, so her presence is implied but never actually seen on screen.
Yes.
She's sleeping.
Yeah, she's in the cockpit, like. And when this is over, I will get you back to your team or whatever.
What did you do to this thing?
I'm not so much, man who uses ship so much as man who gets flown around on. We've been trying to get the most out of our deuterium, is really the issue, and could do with some more supplies, but recycling and efficiency we could do with stronger warp field, or we're going to probably have an accident.
Well, I'm not one for warp field theory, but I can repair your fuel connector here, which...
That would be good. Evelina said something about, plasma flow. I don't know.
And Arcady will slide out on the fucking skateboard or whatever.
Obligatory skateboard. That's how we know Arcady's now an engineer.
Yeah, and Arcady looks like like having fallen down a pit, like their legs wrapped up. They've got, grease on their face. Arcady's really bringing it this episode.
We've gone back to grunge core Arcady.
It's a good look for Arcady, not gonna lie. Vitya, you and I grew up in a mining colony. How did you pick none of this up?
I know how to make sure that things are going to connect to other things. I don't know how to bend space and travel from A to B faster than the speed of light.
No, I know, but this is simple repairs. If you have your manual, you can repair this, no problem.
I think this thing came with manual.
Well, it will have done at some point.
We lost our engineer, okay?
Well, that makes a little more sense.
And it's not my ship. It's the ship I'm using. I didn't steal it. It's my co-pilot. It's my colleague's ship.
I'm sorry, Vitya.
Good people trying to get by. Encounter Cardassians, everything gets worse.
There are people in the galaxy who want to get by, and there are people who want to make things worse. Everywhere.
I did not start this intending on becoming wanted interstellar assassin running from sector to sector.
It really doesn't seem like something anyone would ask for. I didn't ask to be on the surface of a
real shithole.
Non-warp civilization being chased by a murderous robot.
You're being chased by a murderous robot?
I was.
They have murder robots on this planet?
No, not quite. I mean, that's a vast understatement. It's not a robot, but
You brought murder robots to this planet? Is
No.
this the murder robot training scenario?
No. We brought a colleague, and a colleague, for some reason, decided murder robots.
And you're giving me shit?
If he were here, I would give him shit too.
Okay. Okay. Have you tried shooting the murder robot?
I haven't, but our security chief did.
You're with your security chief?
I was.
Okay, I'm not going back with you to meet them.
That's fine. I wasn't inviting you back to have tea with my security chief.
I'm just saying. You can get beamed down.
Plus,
Also,
he's on the cusp of retirement. If you meet him, you'll definitely kill him. I've read novels.
It's
That's
not
how
going
that
to
works.
end well. He's nearly retiring, and you take him to planet with murder robots. That's how you get a dead security chief.
Yes, hello. I'm Dr. Lt Burov. I have control over who goes on away missions.
Your captain could make better choices. Also, so could, unless security chief made the robot, in which case security chief does not want to live.
No, not security chief. Engineer.
You're not working with people who make good choices either.
Rarely do I find I am. Burov will slide back under the panel. Also, we'll go, rarely I find I am, and then look at Vitali, and then go...
Vitali has, the good grace to not climb on any high horse. You can make sure you get all patched up. I'm assuming we're giving Burov some freaking medical aid.
Yeah, you've got
like
medical
that would
aid.
be get under there. My leg's broken. Get under there.
Look,
Mother will never forgive us.
Look, it's going to be sore until I get back to the Iskandar. It's fine.
Okay.
I can still walk on it.
You don't need more. I can't do site-to-site transports without taking you on my getting your people on my ship. That's not. I'll return you to them on the way down. I feel like I owe you a little bit and would like to demonstrate that I'm not just dickhead choices, but I have people to take care of.
Vitya, they're going to ask me about this.
I'm not asking you to fuck up your choices and chances. Tell them I pointed gun to your head. Do you want me to point a gun to your head?
No, I don't.
No, I just mean demonstrative. I'm not going to shoot you. I'm just going to so you could say and not lie. I pointed gun to your head.
You pointed gun to my head the first moment you met me down in the cave.
I wasn't sure it was you at first. You're in a lad suit.
Yes. No, I understand.
Everyone.
I'm just saying I don't need you to point a gun at me again.
Okay, I just thought it might help if I pointed gun at you.
How would that help, Vitya?
So you don't lie to Starfleet.
I'm not lying to Starfleet.
Good. Then the story is I pointed gun at you, made you help me repair ship, and then I returned you to your people.
And I have no idea where you're going, and you're
No.
not going somewhere stupid.
No. Not telling you where I'm going.
No, but don't. Don't want to know.
No.
But also... If you did decide you wanted to speak to the Federation...
And then I get locked up.
My captain is a diplomat.
And then I get politely locked up.
You might get politely locked up, but it's better than dying, isn't it? Or getting more people killed?
You know the main thing that I regret, other than I don't like, don't particularly enjoy killing people. But,
It's good to know. It's good to know you haven't developed a taste for it.
Yes, but I was going to say, the main thing that I don't like about this, and then you were going to get sarcastic and go, the dead ambassador, which is obviously a problem, so I'm just trying to cut that off at the pass. The thing I don't like about this is not about what it does to me, or my life choices, or my opportunities. The thing I don't like about this is now that it gives the Federation everything they need to go, oh, the miners, they're just murderous assholes. We don't have to listen to the points they're making. But if I do nothing, they'll go, what's that noise? That's the sound of nothing from the miners. Let's ignore that too. I am aware it is not a murder ambassador or do nothing situation.
I feel like there has to have been a middle ground somewhere,
I was trying the middle ground, and then I got ambushed by a Cardassian ship with Starfleet officers and an ambassador. Didn't go looking for that.
I mean, I don't have to question your choices, but you shot the ambassador when you had a whole room full of Cardassians to choose from?
Well, the Cardassians had sort of left the room, but were sort of looming in their presence and chased us afterwards. So they were still kind of...
Oh, no, that makes sense. She didn't seem quite like you.
I shot the ambassador because I thought Starfleet would try to save the ambassador.
Well, they did. And it apparently caused quite a stir. In fact, if I am understanding it correctly, you might have had an unintentional knock-on effect for good in Cardassia.
What?
So, the ambassador was supposed to give a speech, but obviously then he couldn't. So then the replacement for the ambassador to give the speech in that time at the conference called out the Cardassians for lying and arresting people and not looking at their history and examining it and moving to the future, and has sparked a new wave of potential diplomacy between the Federation and Cardassia.
That is either good or... I don't mean to sound like Captain No all the time. I'm saying I'll believe it when I see it. But there's a little bit of, is this just going to be the Federation go, you're very naughty, Cardassians. Don't do it again. Because the Federation is really good at doing that.
Would you rather they ignored the Cardassians?
I'd rather they did something.
Well, the way you get them to do something is by making them do something. And if you come in and say, you didn't do enough, that's fine, but they're doing something, they're trying.
Are They've been trying this for 20 years.
20 years is nothing in the scale of galactic politics.
20 years is a lot in the scale of my life.
Yes, I know that. But your life is what you make of it. I could have gone to Earth and decided I was going to help, but you all gave me no reason to want to help anyone.
What, other than the fact that we were family?
What does that mean? When were you ever a family to me?
When you grew up where we were, when you saw everything that I saw, when you saw how we worked, when you saw how the Federation withdrew protection, when you saw how the Federation left us exposed to the Cardassians coming in, did we have to be nice to you before you cared about our plight, Arcady?
You didn't have to be nice to me. But no one listened to me. I begged them not to go. I begged them not to make these choices. And then when I saw what had happened and realized that all of this killing is only going to lead to death, then I'm the disloyal one because I don't support the stupid choices that got most of my family killed. Somehow I am the traitor because I didn't support what they did. If you wanted my support, if you wanted me to be your brother, you could have treated me like family rather than just a traitor for disagreeing with you. Family does not have to agree all the time, but you never had my back.
Didn't need me to. You had Starfleet.
I didn't have Starfleet in the beginning, though, did I? I didn't want to go and kill Cardassians. I wanted to be a doctor. Not a doctor with a gun, not a doctor who piloted around Maquis officers or smuggled guns across the border. I wanted to be a doctor who helped people, Vitya.
What exactly was I supposed to do to get the Federation to like me? Ask very politely to speak to an ambassador. I, Vitaly Burov, absolute fucking nobody, is supposed to go, hey, Federation, you abandoned us 10 years ago. Could you maybe give us something now? Could you maybe make right those wrongs? Who do I talk to? Where is the office I walk into of Starfleet Federation Unfuck Your Business, where I walk up and go, excuse me, I have an unfuckery for you to conduct? What do I do?
Vitya, I'm not saying it would have been easy. I can't give you a simple solution to the problem that you and I have. What I am saying is the attitude you enter into it with is how you find your solutions to your problems.
I can say also the Federation is bigger than me, and the Federation abandoned us, and after the war, the Federation has decided to forgive so many things and so many people, and it has continued to not give a shit about the miners, because we're nobody. We're nobody.
It's scary, isn't it? The Federation and Starfleet are so big and the miners are so small. But compared to the family Burov, I was small. And no one gave a shit about me, Vitya. Only what I could bring to the family. No one cared about Arkady Burov.
Well, I suppose when you suggested how I should get help from the Federation, that included we should have moved when the Federation said we should have moved. So you want to compare circumstances? Maybe Arkady Burov should have just done everything the family wanted, and then maybe the family would have accepted Arkady Burov. Same fucking logic you give me for how to work with Federation.
Maybe. But I also know that storming out and refusing to speak to anyone ever again also wasn't the healthy thing to do. I know it hurt people, and I'm sorry about that. I can't change that now. But when you called me before you went on your mission, I messaged our mother. It might not make up for years of not messaging her, but it's something. I didn't just decide, nope, I am Arkady Burov. I am an island. I will never speak to anyone in my family ever again. I'm helping you here now, aren't
I
I?
know. Thank you.
No, I don't need your thanks. I need you to listen. I need you to listen to me, Vitya. We are defined by the choices we make. We are not defined by a choice that we made once. We are defined by the choices that we make every day. And we can change. Anyone can change. The Cardassians can change. Starfleet can change. The Federation can change.
Then what are you saying I do?
I'm saying you make this right.
And what is right? To turn in myself over to Federation justice when Federation justice has given no justice to the miners. So Federation justice only gives us the knife edge?
How does this bring justice to the miners, Vitya?
What the truth? I don't know what my next move is, but it does include not getting fucking arrested by Starfleet. So that they can enact justice to me and not care about the people that they need to care about. Surrendering does not help anybody.
Did she kill the ambassador?
No.
Did she kill anyone?
There was a lot of shooting.
Wasn't my question.
I don't know. There was a lot of shooting.
Because all I am saying is they have proof about you. And if you get caught in this ship with her, it doesn't matter what you want. You're both going to be a...
She's made her choices.
Okay. That's fair. She's allowed to make her choices. I'm all about choices, Vitya. But right now, you are a man without a plan. What happens next? Who else has to die for you to have a plan, Vitya?
I don't know. But I do know I do not owe Starfleet peace.
I imagine that throughout this, Arkady has continued working. In that last, most impassioned part, there was a definitive crank of a wrench, and they pushed themselves out from under the console. The latter part of this conversation has happened with both of you on your feet. So it's a shot of both of you in profile looking at each other, and a light flares, a siren sounds, proximity alert. On a a screen basically positioned right between you both, you see an image of a Miranda-class Starfleet vessel approaching you.
Oh, this Miranda class will just fucking fall apart.
We turn around and say, "Not today, too busy," and the Miranda class goes, "Oh, sorry."
Ah, shit. I've got to go. I'm beaming you down.
Let me talk to them, Vitya.
Oh, no. What are you going to say? Is it going to do anything which includes let this ship get away?
So what, you're going to...
Run? Find me a reason. You won't find it today. Find me a single goddamn reason Federation justice will get me what I want. What I want isn't to go free. What I want is for the miners to get something. Find me that. I'll walk in. Until then, I will not surrender myself for the Federation to just continue to grind our people down.
Tell me how to reach you.
I know how to reach you. I'm beaming you down.
How close is this Miranda-class starship?
It has just exited warp. And in fact, Arkady wouldn't actually know that, but yeah, it has just exited warp and is basically on the other side of Tamalian Prime. You hear kind of the chirp of it's now picked up this ship on its sensors.
Arcady's going over to like the transporter controls to start hitting in the
Vitya.
coordinates.
Vitya, pass me one of those tags.
All right.
Beam me down somewhere exposed.
Exposed.
I will give you a few minutes, Vitya.
Thank you. I will try to not hurt anyone else. I'll try to not kill anyone else.
We are defined by the choices we make, Vitya. Every day.
And so are they.
Beautiful. So are they. Vitali hits a button. We see the
final word.
You are transported out. We see the external of the miner's ship. It starts to accelerate, speeds up, and then hits warp just as we see the Miranda class kind of pulling up on screen.
And as they're beamed out, Arcady is holding what is effectively a discreet SOS flare, which is the equivalent of just going, help, 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 Starfleet, help.
Is your intention to be picked up by the Miranda class?
It's to get the attention of the Miranda class.
Yep.
It's a sense of bleep bleep.
It's a hello, Starfleet, hello.
I love it.
And I think what we see of Arcady as they get beamed down, they're holding that sensor, and they will they will give themselves another dose of the anesthetic for their leg, and just decide it's better to sleep through this. It's better to not have to ask uncomfortable questions by being unconscious and holding a signal flare.
We get a brief shot of the crew of the USS Santa Clara, who have been sent as the relief efforts, having not heard from Dr. Brott. The communication goes that they've picked up that distress signal, and the captain issues orders as to intercept. Now with Arcady kind of sat down somewhere exposed like they requested, we see the camera kind of panning out. I think that would do us for this episode of Star Trek Iskandar.
Mad Max fighting, races,
family drama,
sibling bullshit.
Arcady having done engineering and has the proper excellent grease stains and track marks of tears. Like that's the good stuff. That's the good makeup job.
This is what happened this way around, because otherwise we might have got a long live the chief engineer moments earlier with Strange. Who's engineer now, bitch?
Yeet.
Vance is like, I have so much paperwork to fill
No, it's fine. It's now Arcady sat in the open on a mountain rather than Strange sat in the middle of the mountains having fallen off the scale.
With that said and done, I am entirely confident that the next episode will be wrap up an epilogue and be the final episode of
Session. Episodes are the arcs, sessions are the nights.
Cat speaks the wisdom.
You're quite right.
It's the true.
The true. The next session will be the final session of What We Are. No. I was asking What We Are in the Dark.
Ha ha! It's been What We Are in the Dark the whole time. This is all still in Stranger's imagination.
It's still we'd stop doing this, but no.
The final episode of When Falsehood Seems So Much Like the Truth.
Bold claim that next week's going to be the finale, Mike. I'm just going to put that out there now.
I reckon we could probably get this wrapped up by the break and then deal with a half of Aftermath.
Bold claim.
Yeah, I have only a few things left planned, and none of them are going to be quite so dramatic.
But if that's the amount of roleplay that's just happened just from Vitaly tonight, recall that we still have the plot. And,
that is true.
2 whole other characters worth of roleplay at least.
half a session, in terms of the half a session of the A plot, did just get entirely eaten up by our wacky C
How dare
plot.
you? The Burovs are A plot. They're A plus plot.
A plus plot, yes. There's the A plot, the B plot, and the A plus plot.
Also, what I love is that I always do this thing because we have two characters where I was like, oh no, Emily wasn't in this session much. I'm like, no, Emily also plays Cantos. That's a thing that happened. But then I'm like, so since Arcady's been off doing their own thing, all the robot plot now has got none of me in it because Calandra wasn't even here. I'm just like,
oh well.
That's a moderate help or hinder for you. It'll take someone on a weird C plot. Sorry, A plus plot that no one
A plus plot.
S rank plot.
Plot.
But yeah.
All the plots are S rank plots.
I still have some
There are
help
no
and
bad
hinders in the
plots.
barrel because you guys were ravenous tonight. I'm not entirely sure why. Big thank you once again to Marid for the moderate help or hinder dealer's choice. Who could say? Is it a help? Is it a hinder? I don't know.
It's both.
thank you for giving Kath a chance to play dashing, sexy, hot mess Vitaly Burov again.
The handsomest murderer.
So handsome, such a mess.
Yeah, and
Also, Arcady, who is also kind of a hot mess, has to be the one to go, no, let me fix it. I'm your baby brother.
I think with that all said and done, we can hit the old Pateronies up.
Brr, 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 brr.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Right, what up, everyone? You might have noticed throughout the course of this issue, I've become more and more like a marshmallow because it's very cold in this office, and it snowed in Birmingham today, and I'm cold. That's got nothing to do with the patrons. I just wanted to explain myself. Thank you for everyone who reached out to ask me if I was okay. I'm fine. I'm just cold, and my nose gets cold, so I have to do this to when I'm, otherwise, you know. You get it. You get me. Anyway, all that is preamble to say, get your trash bags ready, Trasharoonies, for our glorious patrons. Because this week, we have a new patron. A new patron! So, extra special trash bags, if you will, for Dinkledore. That's Dinkledore, our new patron.
Thanks. I love you. You're amazing.
That's
We
a
love
great...
you, Dinkledore.
I
Problem
want
is,
to try saying it.
You
Thanks,
and your name.
Dinkledore.
Dinkledore. Thing is, I know them, and I, which means I can laugh more. Dinkledore. So, thanks be to Dinkledore, the armchair Egyptologist, Ken Poyner, he who says the rules control the fun, who had approved very much of this session, and I think would make Kath the MVP. Kiwi Tokoeka, Photosynthetic, Eligos Alexander, Liz Murphy, Michael Kreese, Andrei Cherepnin, Joe, Lou Sutcliffe, Wrangler of the Hinderkinder in their terrible, terrible chat, Araloki, Socky, Henry Prestige, Caffeine Kitty, Hobbs, 138. Oh, I have just seen your email address attached to your Patreon account. Yeah, that is racist.
Oh, great. Fucking amazing.
James Malloy, Mike Fielding, Michael Bowman, and of course, everybody's, I guess, joint favourably named member of the Trash Crew, because today honourable mention goes to Dinkledore, Helena Handbasket. And we'll see you next week.